Hey, what's up YouTube? We're going to make a how-to video today. Just going to be a real simple caliper swap out here. This is on the driver's side of my 97 Chevy Blazer two-door base model, 4.3 liter. Reason why we're doing this is this caliper has been hanging up a little bit. We've also noticed that it's been getting a little bit overheated, this wheel, as well as extra brake dust. You can also hear it squeak a little bit when you try to rock the vehicle back and forth in park. And it was smoking a little bit, not ridiculously, but it was definitely smoking a little bit from the brake pads. So I'm going to change it now before it ruins the brake pads that are on there. It probably already has, but I just want to get it changed out before the pads wear down, and probably also help my fuel economy too. This caliper has been rusted and seized up, not terribly, but acting funny for the past 2.5 years. I'm just finally getting around to it. Just pretty pathetic considering all the other things that I've done to it, and such a simple job that this is. This is the replacement. It's a remanufactured one from Advance. It's only like 12 bucks after a coupon code. Nothing special, very cheap. Should have done this a long time ago, but that's what we're going to do today. Also going to throw a couple extras in here too. As far as this video, we're going to talk about, they have this Pittsburgh 12-ton air hydraulic jack that I picked up. It's the smaller one of the two that they offer, I believe, for the pneumatic Harbor Freight air jack. Got it with a coupon code. I think it was like 65 bucks after I was done, or with a coupon, and it gives you the option there to use the bar for it. That's the little part that goes and locks into here that lets you tighten and loosen to let the jack down or to tighten it up. You can also put the bar into the actual lever there and move it that way, but I'm going to show you the air feature. The only problem I have with it is it just connects. It already has the inlet on it too, which was kind of nice. It plugs right directly into my air hose here on my quick connect. That's actually my quick connect that's bad, that's leaking, so don't mind that. Just got to get it at the right angle. But it has this little hook here, which is, you can, when you're pressing, you can flip over this thing. Not a big fan of that. It's kind of a safety thing. When I get a chance, I'm actually going to take that off. I don't care for that whatsoever. I was doing something, I wasn't really using this for the proper use the one day. I'll tell you what I was doing. I was compressing the keys on the torsion bars using the jack and a socket extension. Don't do that, kids. Very bad idea, but it worked for me. I just wouldn't recommend trying it. Super dangerous. Use the proper unloading tool that you can get. But anyhow, this thing got stuck on there when I was trying to compress that, and it wouldn't stop going up, and I'm like, I had to hurry up and disconnect the hose, otherwise I would have lifted the whole vehicle up by the torsion key, which would have been super dangerous. So but I'm going to go ahead and demo this. So this little hook here, I'm just going to hold it so it doesn't do anything, and you just press it down, and then you watch there. Of course it's not going to work. And as you can see, wheel is far enough off the ground. Wow, that wheel's not even spinning. Holy crap. Look at that. That is really hung up. I hope I don't have to put pads on here today. Look at this. Won't even move. That caliper is shot. But anyhow, as you can see, that went up very nicely. I didn't have to kill my back. Took it right up. So what we're going to do is we're going to secure it with a jack stand here. Let's throw that up there like that. Actually, we're going to go up this a little bit higher on this air jack here. Let me go ahead and try to connect this one-handed here, guys. Hold on a minute. Let me get it connected. It's hard to do with one hand. Anyway, sorry about that. We're going to go a little further. Alright, now that should be far enough to get me the right amount of... Yeah, maybe not. Trying to get it in a good position here. Really? Okay, that should be about where I want it. That should be fine right there. Alright, got the jack stand in a good position. We're going to just disconnect that. We won't need that no more. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here with this little bar that it comes with two of these, one smaller one. We're going to ever so gently try to let it down. Just let it rest on a jack stand here. That's good enough. Looks like I've bent up the frame a little bit over the last few times of working on it, but it'll be alright. I'm not worried about it. Alright, so tools you're going to need, some basic sockets. I have a 1/2 inch with an adapter there, socket wrench. These are 3/8 sockets. I only use these 3/8 Harbor Freight sockets because the 1/2 inch ones that I have that belong to that are a pain in the derriere to get off of this little plastic thing. Got some star sockets. I don't remember exactly what T size it is. I'm going to say T50 or T45 to get the caliper off. We'll know once we get in there. I have my impact gun here, makes it a little easier. Some wrenches because we'll need that for the bleeder. I'm going to try this little Pittsburgh self-brake bleeder bottle thing. I'm going to see what kind of mess I make with that. And got my cleaner, brake cleaner, and of course iced tea. So I'm going to go ahead and start by getting you set up here on the tripod so you can see what I'm doing. Well, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Alright, let me get all my mats positioned here. And I'm going to try to see what you're seeing here in just a moment. Let me get you set up first. Don't mind the bouncing, I just want to get you in a good view. Don't mind my body in the way. Oh yeah, we're going to have to point you down a little bit there. Let me get you loosened up. Alright, that should give you the general idea for now. And then we'll go ahead and touch back and move the camera to another position once we're ready to start actually working on the caliper. So this is a perfect view. We're just going to take off the wheel. Got the jack stand under there. Got the resting majority of the weight on the jack stand. For safety, leaving the jack under there, I'm going to chalk the wheels with some bricks real quick. We'll do that. I have my emergency brake and it's clearly in park. It's not going anywhere, but for safety purposes, it can never hurt to be extra safe. Let me grab a 19 for the lug nut. Okay, so I got my 19, I don't know if it's going to show up or not, 19 deep well impact socket. Throw that on the impact gun here. Actually first, gotta take these cute little decorative caps off. Get some rubber gloves on here so I don't get too disgusting today, because I do have other plans today. I really am not wanting to get too messy. I will shower after this, but if I can prevent getting too dirty, I'm going to do so. Okay, let's see here. Now what I do with it? I'm going to go ahead and take these little plastic decorative caps. I found it's easier to use the impact socket 19 millimeter just to go ahead and do that. This is, like I said, a 97 Blazer. It uses the 1996 design brake caliper. This was actually built in 96, even though it's a 97 model. There's actually a couple different caliper options that they offer for this vehicle. Just make sure you get the one that fits the 96 and you'll usually be okay. You can title as a 97, it'll come up, but it'll come up, just make sure you choose the right one. Best idea is just to have a general idea what it looks like before you get involved in this. Alright, make sure it's unloosened. We're going to go ahead and rip these off. Vehicle secured. Alright, just going to use one of these magnetic dishes to hold my bolts. Alright, let that compressor build up for a few minutes here. So just ignore the excess noise. I'm just going to move the tire out of the way here. Slap it out of the way. So, alright, the good news is I caught this just in time, which means I'm not going to have to replace the brake pads. I do have a warranty on the brake pads. So if they were to need replaced, I could, but I'm not that concerned. But I do have a little groove in the rotor here, but that's probably due to the a stone or something that got in between the pad or some kind of debris. Rotor is still in really good shape on here, so Obviously we're not changing that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get in the vehicle and I'm going to turn the wheel all the way to the right, and that's going to position this caliper where I can make it more user accessible, a little easier to work on here. So we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. Let me put the keys in. There we go. Perfect. Now, the next deal is, now that the compressor finally shut up, I'm going to bring you in a little closer here so you can see what we're looking at here. The next thing is obviously we have your rotor, and this is your caliper right here. So you want to just quickly do a visual, make sure you have the right one. Yep. Let's go ahead and pull this one out and take a look at it. Yep. Same part. Perfect. Yeah, it's nice too because they even give you these nice little new bolts, even though I've already replaced them not too long ago in here. So sometimes, guys, it's just better to buy a new one. You know, they're remanufactured, but it saves you from having to rebuild these things, and they're not really all that fun to rebuild. So anyway, eventually what we're going to have to loosen up is this bolt here, which is the bolt that holds the hose on, the brake hose. For now, what we're going to do is we're going to get this caliper off of here. Before I do that, though, I'm going to see if I can try to put something on this and loosen this guy up. It's going to be easier to loosen that brake hose prior to actually attempting to take this whole caliper off and loosen it. Once you loosen this caliper off here, it's just going to fling all over the place, and it's going to make it hard to really get any kind of leverage on loosening this nut. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Trying to think of a good place to put you guys. Yeah, well, we're going to put you on the ground here. I'm going to see if I can get any kind of lean here out of this camera. This tripod's not the greatest, so bear with me here. These extend out a little further. Oh, yes, they do. Boy, you guys are going to be sick by the time I'm done with this. Alright, there we go. Now, let's see what you're seeing. Actually, that might be pretty good right there. Let's get it tightened down. Not quite. Need to... Of course, this shield is conveniently in the way. Let's try this angle. Yeah, I'm going to have half this video is just going to be me trying to figure out how in the world to position the camera here. So, let's see what you're seeing now. Not quite. Let's go down a little further here. Alright, now hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Let's hope that don't break my camera. I can see it falling, but that gives you the general idea. So the next goal here is to find out what size we're working with that bolt. Typically for something like that, it looks to be like a 13, but we're going to start off with a I can't even see these socks anymore, a 12. Kind of looks like a 12. No, actually it might be a a 10. No, it ain't a 10. Of course they're going to have an oddball size. Let's see what size. Let's see, what should be an 11? Huh. That'll be odd. Yeah, it's an 11. That's got a nice fit on that. We're going to go with that. We're going to go ahead and throw the loosen up on the ratchet here. I might need to get an extension on here. Yeah, I'm going to need an extension. Hang tight, guys, until I grab an extension. Alright, got a 3/8 extension. Like I said, I'm using a 1/2 inch with my little adapter that goes from 1/2 inch to 3/8 just to make this a little bit easier. With the 1/2 inch wrench, you'll crack these loose easier, so that shouldn't be too hard. There we go, cracked loose. Very happy with that. Now I know that's loose, so when I go to do this, I won't have to worry about trying to crack this loose later on. So now the next step is we're going to find out what star size these are back here. And a moment to find out here. Something tells me they're a T50, but let's find out. No, I'm wrong. I'm definitely not on my game today. Alright, we're going to try T55. Yeah, T55 fits in there pretty securely. So, they shouldn't be too bad. I've had these off before, so as you can see, they came loose pretty easily. Sometimes you got to really hammer these in here because they'll fill up with rust. And when they fill up with rust, what you'll end up having is you won't be able to get the star bit in there. So you'll have to kind of tap them in with a hammer, the actual star bit, so that you can loosen them. So, alright, let's go ahead and see if I can get them by hand. Yeah, they're getting there. So, now we're going to go ahead and put these bolts on the side here. I always put anti-seize on them so that they don't, I'm sure that somebody's out there is yelling at me for that right now. You don't put anti-seize on something that you don't want to come loose, like a brake caliper. But for as much as I work on my vehicles and I'm always doing upgrades and changes, I found that anti-seize is not going to hurt. It's not going to come loose. If you tighten it up correctly, it's not going to come loose. Now, I don't expect this caliper not to give me a fight because, like I said, it is hanging up. So we're going to go ahead and just grab a pry bar here and see if I can't try to get a good thing in here without breaking my face open, of course. I don't know where a good place is to pry on here. We're going to find out, though, I guess. Let's see if I can get in there. There we go. I'm going in between the pads, trying not to damage them any. Kind of give it a good yank here. I think we got it. So, now, these aren't too heavy, these calipers. I know everybody's going to be yelling at me, don't hang it from the brake house. It's not going to hurt anything, guys. We're only doing this for a couple minutes. It's a good time to inspect everything. Look at the back side of your rotor, look for any rust. If you can, try to check your wheel bearing. This has a new CV axle on it that I put on here not too long ago. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to get a drip pan because I'm already starting to lose a little brake fluid here. Got a nice clean drip pan here, which is always nice. I'm going to just sit it right under that caliper. I'm going to just take a quick second here just to see what you guys are seeing. Alright, I guess you're seeing the gist of it here, so that's good. I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing. I guess I won't know until I go to upload this. So, we're going to switch back over to that 11 here just for a minute. It should be loose enough, hopefully, yep, to take this brake hose off of here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Of course, this brake fluid's slippery. I should have got some paper towels or shop towels. Good thing is, it looks like there's some pretty good flow in there. Of course, the socket's going to get stuck on there. It never fails. So we're going to recycle these pads because they are still relatively new. There's some chunks on it, which is probably my fault from messing with that crowbar. But as you can see, hopefully, there's still quite a bit of pad left on there, and these pads are in good shape. So we're going to go ahead and just reuse them. Caliper, I'm just going to sit in the drain pan and let that drain out. I'm going to go ahead and pull this guy out of here. This little, I guess they call this a banjo bolt. I'm not even sure what they call this thing. But these crush bolts here, they don't come off very easily, so I may actually just leave it on there, to be honest. I don't think it's going to leak, but let me grab a flathead and try to get it off there. If I can't, I'm just going to leave it on there. Time to switch out the gloves already. Minutes of me being unprepared for this. I apologize for that. I just tried to get as many tools out as I could think of, so I had to switch out my gloves. I'm going to see if this will come off of here. I'm not terribly concerned if it doesn't. I've found that reusing these have never been an issue for me. I mean, once again, you guys out there are probably like, what in the world? What I'm trying to do is they have these little copper washers on here. I think we're just going to roll with these because these ones are on here pretty good, and I know without changing a brake hose, I'm not going to mess with them. So, alright, let's get the new caliper here, get it ready. New caliper here. Comes with a little green plug in there. We're going to go ahead and take that out. That's just to keep debris from getting in it. That's where the brake hose goes. We're going to try to position it here in a way I can see what way the hose needs to go on there. So, looks like the hose needs to go on there through there. I'm going to grab that bolt, whatever I did with it. I have no idea. There it is. Put it back through the hose. So I guess they call that a banjo bolt. I'm not sure. I forget the technical term for that, but just try to start cranking this guy in there. There we go. Beautiful. Yeah, you are supposed to use the copper washer, guys, for these things, the new replacement crush washers, but that's not going to happen today, and I don't, this ain't going to leak, trust me. I got experience with this stuff, this ain't going to leak. So we're going to try to let it hang gracefully there for a minute. Switch back over to my socket wrench. Just give that a little snug. I mean, we're going to get it really snug once I have the chance to go ahead and get it bleeding, but we're going to just spray a little brake cleaner here just to clean up all this mess I made here. Okay, I'm going to clean up my gloves a little bit here, so I don't have to keep changing them. I'm going to just spray, all I'm doing over here, guys, off camera, is I'm just spraying off my brake pads. I've been told not to do that, but once again, I just do what I know I've never had a problem with. So, perfect. Now, go ahead and take these. It looks like they got these bolts in there nice and snug for me. That was nice of them. So, let's try to get it out of there. Jeez. Should have did this before I got it all hooked up, make it a little easier. Let's go ahead and just try to push them out without stabbing myself here. Pretty sure that they thread into the bracket, so why they're so tight in there is beyond me. So, guess we're going to start these guys up. And for whatever reason, they always seem to have a different size star on them, and I'm not sure why. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. I'll try the smaller one. I don't know. I've run into this before with these. I always got to change stuff, these engineers or whoever makes these. Nope, see, it's got to be that one. So, I don't know why they get stuck in here so far. There we go. That's one. Go ahead and pull the second one out. Come on. All I'm doing right now is, I don't know how well you can see this, is I'm trying to get this bolt out of here that they put in there. It's a little hard to do though, when you have slippery hands from brake fluid, of course. Come on, guy. Jeez. These guys trying to do to me here. There. Anywho, now we're just going to go ahead and position these new pads in here. I'm going to get a little anti-seize to put on them. I like to put anti-seize or some kind of grease anywhere that these, spray this down a little bit too, get this cleaned up. I always like to spray the calipers down too, just because sometimes they put that crap on them for anti-rust inhibitor or something, so I don't know. All I'm doing is I'm just putting a little anti-seize on the inside of this piston here on the metal part, just so wherever the pads are, wherever I know they're going to rub. I just like to do that so that everything sets in real nice. Okay, and I'm just going to put a little bit on the pad here. Not terribly ridiculous on this, just a little bit to help everything settle in nicely. Okay, perfect. Alright, hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. So I got the inner pad, we're going to do that one first. Slip that guy into place. It's not staying in real good, but kind of be expected after it was bend the clip up a little bit. That might help it. There, hold it in place a little better. Go ahead and put the outer pad on. It goes in something like this. Beautiful. Okay. Now, we can go ahead and try to hold them together at the same time as positioning these pads on here. Alright, nice and smooth there. So, what I do is I always grab a lug nut and I put a lug nut reverse. Well, of course, then I got rust all over these, so it ain't going to work as planned. But usually what I like to do is I'll put a lug nut on the rotor here to help hold it down while I'm keep it from bouncing around too much while I'm trying to position everything. So now, go ahead and use these new bolts. I'm just going to put a little anti-seize on them. Like I said, I like to do that just so I know that they're going to want to come back out of here again next time around. Let's try to get them all positioned up nicely. Alright. Got it right up to the threads. Just give it a light tap. And we're going to put a little anti-seize on this guy too. And roll this one in here. Of course, that one went in nicely. Okay. Now, these stars don't quite fit right, so I ran into this before with these. It's a very odd size. I think there's a different size for this, but I'm going to go ahead and roll these in. Really frustrating when you don't have the right tools. I bought a set of these like squared type of sockets, but of course they didn't fit. So we're going to force this one in there. I know, what a great how-to video, guys, right? That ain't my fault. These engineers, I don't know, or these people that remanufacture these things, I should say, I don't know why they just can't use the right size for stuff like this, so that we, when we go to do this, aren't messing with it. See, that's why you don't do that, so you don't round it out. So, but we're going to stop right there. It'll be fine. I've done way worse, trust me. Alright, try to get that position where it's supposed to be. Come on, this one ain't even nearly the same size. I might be using the old bolts here in a minute. It's already annoying me. Like I said, the whole purpose of this is just to get the job done because I don't have the right bit for this bolt. Alright. Walk it back out. Alright, I'm happy with the tightness of that. Now, I'm sure there's a specific torqueness on these, but you know what, guys? I ain't worried about it. So, now that we got that tightened down, we're going to go ahead and try to keep my tools organized here because it makes cleanup a lot easier if you have your tools all organized instead of messing them all up. We're going to tighten that bolt down. We're going to snug that bolt down on the on the brake hose so it doesn't leak. That should be tight enough. You don't want to overdo it because these calipers will break. Alright, I'm going to double check on your view once again while I organize my tools, see what you're seeing again. Hopefully you're seeing anything. I'm not wasting my time here. Alright, yeah, you're seeing everything you need to see. That's perfect. So now we're going to hook up. There's a bleeder right there in front of my finger. There's a bleeder there. We're going to go ahead and grab a wrench on there. I think it's a 10, and it is good. Alright, so the next process is to figure out how in the world to work this cool little bleeding kit I got. I guess the first thing we need to do, figure out what size hose we need on it. It's too small. That'll look a little too small, but that's alright. Let's go ahead and take my gloves off so I can actually work with this. Make life a little easier here. Come on. Might have to put a little bit of put a little brake fluid on it. It'll help to get it to slide on there. Problem is the hose on this is a little too small, so hopefully I can make this work, because otherwise I'm going to be very frustrated. I should have checked this before I got into this. Now there is a thing called gravity bleed, but you can let it just bleed down gravity, but I prefer to spend my day doing other more exciting things than waiting for my brake system to bleed. Alright, I think we've got something going on here. Hose is not the greatest. I might do some shopping for some better hoses when I get the opportunity, but right now, there we go. Something like that. Now, I think that all we have to do, I don't know if we need to put any brake fluid in here. I'm going to put a little brake fluid in this little container, guys. Because I think the concept is we don't want air to suck back in whenever we're doing this. So I'm just going to put a little bit of brake fluid into this little container here without trying not to spill it everywhere. Alright, that's probably too much, so we're going to back it out. Yeah, just enough to keep the straw from being dry in the bottom. Alright, I'll go ahead and put that back together. This works. This is going to save me a lot of headache. Oh, guess it helps to put the wrench on there first. So let's go ahead and get the wrench in position. And this little guy here is magnetized. So let's hopefully find a place you can see what's going on there. Alright, I'm going to crack that open. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to pump these brakes. I will say, this was definitely a success. This is probably one of the easier brake bleedings I've done in a while. We're going to empty this out a little bit here. I am very pleased with this. Thank you again, Harbor Freight. We're going to empty this out a little bit here and just leaving a little bit in the bottom. We're going to do a little bit more just to make sure we got all the air out. There we go. Try to put it somewhere you can see what's happening there. We're going to crock it loose again and give it a couple more good pumps. Alright, I'm very happy with those results. As I knock all my lug nuts on the ground, that was nice. Alright. So, now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and tighten this up while that's still connected. And, whoops, drop my leader thing. Take that off. Let that drain back into the bottle, and then I'll deal with that later. Yeah. I will say that was very, very successful brake job. So before we complete this video, we're going to go ahead and give everything a nice little clean off here. Some brake cleaner. Try to get this backing plate hosed off good. Love me some brake cleaner. I'm going to clean off the back of the axle there because it's got a little bit of a seal leak. It's doing this on purpose so I can try to narrow down where it's coming from. Alright, we're going to let everything dry for a couple minutes. I'm going to give it a couple pumps just to make sure that everything's working the way it should be. Start it up and get loud. Heads up, that caliper is working perfectly. I can see it squeezing and letting go. So, I'm going to turn that wheel straight again. I'm actually going to turn it all the way out for a minute because I need to see something else. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do a caliper. Now, you just want to make sure you take the old one back to the auto parts. Most of the time, there is a cord charge here. So I'm going to tighten this stupid thing back up again. It keeps coming loose.